Let's see how it goes. So my name is Dickman. I'm here at Frantic Senior Designer, and today we have the topic of designing digital services environmental point of view. So we're gonna scratch the surface of how to build sustainable digital services. And here we have the agenda. You have already seen it. It has been open here. So we have a little presentation about the subject, what we have been working on in Frantic. Then we have a small break. You can go and get more coffee and stretch a bit. And then we have the workshop hosted by my colleagues, Milla Poikolainen and Katja Vakula, who is sitting there. And they will introduce themselves when the workshop starts. Okay, so first of all, who we are. Frantic is a digital consultancy business, and it's been founded from 1997. So we have a long history of working with digital products, designing, developing, and leading projects. So it's a consultancy business. We combine our passion of technology, design, and agile leadership. Our motto is, when you succeed, we succeed. And more about the products that what we are doing. So our expertise is in customer experience and business design. We also do e-commerce services and application, as well as content solutions and digital communications. So why do we care about this sustainability? Of course, the urgency of climate crisis and the loss of constant losing of biodiversity has becoming a bigger issue in social and political questions. So much that it has started to touch the business as well as digital business. The criteria and reporting standards about sustainability strategies and energy consumptions are coming mandatory level for largely in companies next year, especially in big companies, over 250 people. And of course, even though this is not touching yet small businesses, everybody wants to be recognized as a responsible actors, and we here in Frantic, we want to build our clients to build future that is sustainable. Internally, we started talking about this last year more, and we found out that many of the Frantimons are interested of sustainability and designing sustainable products. And we formed a task force last autumn where we started educate ourselves, learn more from each other. And the first outcome is that we built our own internal guideline, which we have been adopting to all the client work. And so we have been starting this work. This guideline has now been published this spring, and we're gonna look a little bit into that as well. If we go to today's topic, at this moment I want to thank you. We got lots of questions from everybody, and we tried to gather this presentation so that we answer to your questions, but there were so many of those questions that we're gonna gather them later on once we wrap up this event, the workshop event as well. So we're gonna answer in several blog posts the ones that we didn't manage to squeeze in this very tight presentation we have here. And then also I wanted to mention that there is a parking lot paper. There is paper here, or I can show you this type of paper. So if you have questions coming during this presentation, you can take post-it notes and just put there, and we can go them through as well. So a little bit about the background. So 65% of global electricity production is from fossil fuels, and it is the most polluting industry in the world. fossil fuels equals burning coal and using natural gas sources, and they both contribute the emissions of greenhouse gases and increase the climate change. Finland is one of the countries signed in Paris Climate Agreement and therefore is committed to goal for mitigating the emissions and limit the climate warming till 1.5 Celsius. Tom Greenwood is an author who said in his book of Sustainable Web Design that we as digital product professionals need to take leadership towards zero emission digital development and take responsibility for the environmental impact we do. So how green is internet? Emissions of the whole digitalization, devices, IT industry and internet usage causes 2 to 3.8% from all greenhouse emissions, depending on different ways of measuring, according to Yle's report of sustainable digital consumption. If internet was a country, it would be the 6th largest, most polluting country in the world, with annual emissions similar to Germany or equivalent to flying altogether. The demand of computing services increased 550% between 2010 and 2018, and without public policies and regulation, it has potential to increase consumption and energy in use. Journal of Cleaner Production estimated that communication technology will use 14% of global electricity by 2040 and is now estimated around 1% of global electricity consumption. Some of you asked questions regarding the system thinking around this topic, and the topic is really large, so we try to tackle this with illustrating you a picture of what aspects affect to the carbon footprint of internet. So on the first circle there is the business strategy, which leads the way and listens to the needs of users and consumers. Business has hunts of markets and leads the way of digital product that needs to be built. And then design leads the way how and what there is in a product. So basically manages what there is in the content. And development makes then the final technical solution and how things are built. Together with three of these, the design, business and technology makes the final product and the decision what kind of package will be hosted in these data centers. And the hosting in this picture is the biggest balloon for a reason. The biggest emission impact is done on this side. The devices is of course taking a part of the carbon footprint as well, because we all use them and we need them in our work and in our leisure activities. And of course consumers consume digital products, and then business is again listening what consumers are doing, and then the loop starts all over again. On the other circle, we illustrated the aspects that are affecting to the carbon footprint and ways we can mitigate it. There are lots about our values in our work life, the company culture, what devices we are using, laws and regulations, and technical solutions, all the way to responsible digital consumption. As mentioned, the subject is really large, sometimes feeling quite overwhelming, the whole subject of sustainability. We have to be gentle to ourselves. To control the full energy supply of internet is absolutely impossible, but there is ways we can affect on stuff. First of all, we can affect on the data transfer. When we are measuring the amount of data transferred server to server, so basically the traffic. Then we can affect on individual web product size, how heavy content we are providing on our digital services. the most worst case scenario is that there is a constant use of certain products, and then each individual load is making contains a heavy load. So, for example, portal or some sort of like a digital product which is in professional use, and every time you're using it makes a huge load. We can affect on user experience, making the user journeys effective, and also to think about the renewable energy sources. Location is key thing here. When we are hosting services far, it requires more energy to transfer the information to the users. So it's much more climate friendly to host locally, so close to the users. And then we can affect to our behavior so that we are behaving responsibly when we are using digital products. Sustainable Web Manifesto is a movement which purpose was to awareness in sustainability web industry, and they gathered a bunch of principles that many company has committed to pursue when they are working on digital business. Web products should be provided and hosted with renewable energy sources, wind, solar, or wave power. Digital services should be produced lightly. They should use a least amount of energy and material resources as possible. When teams are working, we should be open with our attempts to make our project more sustainable. So basically, events like this share knowledge, inspire others, and share insights of your inventions. We should be honest about our attempts, not making false claims about suggesting helping environment if we are not, so avoid greenwashing. Regenerative, let's help our natural ecosystem and society to heal and restore. This can be done with compensating or donating. And then there is resilience, so build products that are resilient and so robust that can function in every situation, even in crisis. So what about the practices then? We gathered these principles to help, like mentioned, in our client work. So we have been adopting these little by little in our client side, and we can tell a little bit about that. It has been really positive, the response from client side as well. So basically, all environmental friendly products starts with the design phase. So in our guideline, the content from designer professionals, we start from creating efficient user journeys. Design accessibility ahead with sustainable mindset. So basically, when you are heading to accessible web products, it is also benefiting on sustainability. Efficient user journeys. So basically, every time user needs to make a click on a website, it makes a load. Therefore, it requires energy, and it makes the carbon footprint larger. So prefer efficient user journeys. Avoid yo-yo user journeys where you have to go back between pages. When you're doing features and designing them, challenge your team and yourself, thinking that is this really necessary to do? Is this improving UX drastically? If it is not, then leave it out. This goes also with the images and videos. If you want to use images, rather use vector graphics because they are lightweighted, and avoid video content. The modern screens, as here as well, are OLED screens, meaning that each of the pixels are small LED lights. So if you are preferring darker color scheme in your designs, you are basically reducing the energy consuming in screen usage on user's side. So avoid light screen like white. And then there was an interesting study in Greenwood's book where it was stated that blue pixels basically consume 25% more of energy than red or green. Prefer pre-installed fonts like Arial, Time New Roman, Helvetica, or Roboto. They are locally hosted and lightweight. And here on the right side there is an example of whole grains. They designed their web page to be more energy efficient. On the left side there is before picture and right side there is after picture. By choosing darker color scheme and optimizing code base, they managed to reduce the emissions by 89%, and the page load time from 3 seconds to under a second. For developers, so of course in a design phase there are lots of decisions made already, what kind of stuff you have on your web products, but there is a lot that you can work as a developer as well. First of all, in a tech side, it would be good to take time to research the technology could be applied in order to serve the purpose and the business, to solve the business, the problem that are there at the hand, and serve the business purposes as well. Organize your files to be more streamlined. Analyze the life cycle of the code and avoid technology debt. Avoid duplicates in styles and functions and get rid of the bloated libraries and unnecessarily plugins and font files. So you can also take away from the font file all the unnecessary languages and styles that you don't need. For example, if you can maybe think that do you need like 5 different font styles, hairline to medium, maybe just 3 is enough. On the right side there is an interesting graph, even though it's super small, but we will share this the materials with you so you can check this out later. So there was a study made with Green Lab where they have been comparing energy consuming of different coding languages. They monitored the performance of a bunch of languages using 10 different programming problems. And the findings show that there are differences in languages, less or more energy they are consuming, and how the memory usage influences the energy consumption. And this showed, it's really small, that the 3 least energy-intensive programming languages were C, Rust, and C++, and most energy-intensive was Perl, Python, and Ruby. So as a developer, you can also challenge yourself and challenge the team. Think about that, do we really need heavy framework in order to code like just basic website front end, or could we maybe stay static and use just, for example, JavaScript to specific algorithmic problems and solve them? Because JavaScript is also consuming a lot more than many of the other languages we have there. Also, using caches to improve system performance is very good, because then you don't have to make the queries from server, and then compressing the code is a good tool as well to reduce the energy consumption. Organic Basics made was it experimentation, some sort, that they wanted to educate their consumers and clients of more low impact web design. So they built this website. They are clothing brand, so that they replaced the images by raster photos with vector images. They changed the system, font system. Fonts colors are less energy consuming, and there is no videos on this site. The code is compressed and optimized, and it only contains the most crucial programming scripts, and it prefers static code. User, however, has the ability to choose to view the low impact version, but if these vector images isn't enough, they can ask also to raster photo of the items. We also talk in our internal guideline about the hosting side, even though our business is not so much in there, but it's it's really important to know about the hosting side, because it's the loop, as noted in the previous photo, that is the place where we are making the most impact in missions. Data centers are one of the fastest growing sources of electricity demand globally, and also the biggest polluters in this digital business field. The amount of electricity is not only needed to the server machines, but as we all know how the electronic devices likes warmth, they are not liking it. So these data centers needs to be cooled down. So the air conditioning is taking a lot for the energy as well. There was a data showed in again Tom Greenwood's book regarding to the big tech giants. Most of the big tech giants such as Google, Microsoft, and Amazon claims that they achieved 100% from renewable energy sources. However, the reality is that Microsoft receives 60%, Google 40%, and Amazon apparently 0%. About the devices, of course, it's always good to think when you are purchasing the device and think about the life cycle of it, that it's a sustainable device. Favor repairing devices if there's something coming to them, than purchasing new ones. And as a designers and developers, make sure that your applications and service are supported with older systems as well. There is a good example of Google has a data center in Hamina. They made this as a case study where they wanted to monitor how well data centers is matched with carbon-free energy hour by hour basis. The Hamina data center is achieving 97% of renewable energy sources from a local grid, and it's powered by wind energy. As a professional, you can always ask and demand the information if your hoster is using renewable energy sources, and if not yet, what is the commitment for this in the future. We gathered also little aspects for managers. Of course, project managing is an important part of tech industry as well. As a manager, you can always support and encourage sustainable choices in tech projects, prioritizing and analyzing the business cases and solutions. So basically same as designers. If you are in doubt, leave it out. ESG is a reporting tool that many big companies uses, and it gives more transparency of the opportunities and risks for responsible business development. It it offers this sort of like framework, and it contains many subjects that helps companies to calculate their emissions. There is the ESG is acronym from environment, social, and governance. As a manager, it is also good to be aware of the upcoming directive. So there is an European Commission prepared directive called Corporate Sustainability Reporting Directive that comes next year, and it obligates big corporations to responsibility reporting of their business. And this target is to make Europe climate neutral by 2050 and global leader of setting standards in sustainable finance. Here are a little bit references that what Frantic has been doing on sustainability development. One way of advanced sustainability is to do a collaboration with the companies who have the same target. We have been working with many clients whose objective is to increase people's awareness of the impact they have on the climate. Compensate, Citra's lifestyle test and Susla app are for assessing your personal footprint, and then it will give you the sort of like action points how to reduce your carbon footprint. Our participation in this project has been mainly working as a multi-vendor team, or just or being responsible for the whole implementation of the products. We also gathered in our guideline a little bit of tips and tricks for everybody of our Frantimons to be responsible digital consumers. So when you are getting this material, you can do this already, and if you are bored, you can do this right now. So from your phone, you can put your low energy consumption mode on, you can adjust your screen saving settings, you can prefer dark mode in your laptop or your mobile, and there are lots of other stuff you can do as a consumer. About the future, let's end with a little bit positive note. I went a little bit when I was preparing this speech. I was having my own rabbit hole experience with IPCC report the other night, and of course I didn't read the whole report. It's over 3,000 pages, but in many places there was reference that the digitalization is a possibility. It's stated in many places that digitalization has a potential to be one of the biggest game changers in decarbonization and fighting against climate warming. And this means that by digital communication and using the services, we are reducing transportation, fuel consumption, and saving land use when we don't need to build roads and infrastructure for cars and stuff like that. So how the business is then benefiting from sustainable otherwise? Values and responsibly business, we are all responsible for reaching sustainability goals. Sustainability saves money by focusing on essentials, saving time in managing, and leads towards efficient operations. And of course, saving energy, electricity is also saving money. Efficient methods enhances productivity and saves human resources. Being ahead increases business resilience. It is easier to comply different directives and law changes when you are a little bit ahead with your plans. Sustainability attracts employees, investors, and customers. People want to collaborate with instances who works responsibly. And yeah, this was the attraction of customers as well. So when companies challenge the normal practices and methods to achieve these sustainable solutions, they intend to invent something new and creative. Sustainable products are not only fast and efficient, but also user-friendly, accessible, inclusive, and search engine optimization friendly. Happier people, happier customers, happier planet. We have listed few of the regulations and standardization for this presentation as well for you to skim through later on. How to be part of the change. We also gathered a list of useful tools and extensions, plugins you can take use in your everyday life, in your work. You can check your product's carbon footprint. And then there are a bunch of methods in business side and design side. We have started this work now in Frantic, little by little, and our experience is that clients has been really interested of this work, and I want to encourage every one of you, if you're working as a consultant, to take this, adopt this as part of your design and development and management routines. We all digital professionals, whether you are in any role, we have the possibilities to make change for more sustainable future. Let us be the leaders in our organizations towards sustainable digital products, share knowledge, learn from others, and join in the discussion. Thank you.